Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today is Antiwork Monday, with a few stories that will help you get through the week. Boss exploited me, so I secretly ate his food. Our first story comes from the PettyRevenge subreddit, posted by Blue Artbird. This restaurant was disgusting. We dishwashers had to use the same towels multiple days in a row because there was no clean ones, which is extremely unsanitary in a kitchen. The chefs and waiters abused their power and asked me to do so much extra work, as if I didn't already have a mountain of dirty dishes, glasses, and cutlery to clean. I could be extremely busy and suddenly have to run out and buy something for the chef. And when I came back, they were annoyed because they didn't have enough plates or whatever. I was also scolded for washing a cast iron pan with soap, even though nobody ever told me how to wash it properly, and I didn't know what it was. A few times I was called into work on my day off because they had an event, and when I told them I had to leave at 10 PM because I had school in the morning, they just laughed at me and reminded me that I could leave when I was done. Sometimes at 1 AM. They exploited the fact that I didn't know how to say no. Oh, that is mega illegal. They could get into some serious trouble for that. It sucks that they don't teach worker rights at school. I mean, isn't school supposed to prepare you for the workforce? But the worst part was the fact that everyone always left before me at night because they were done and wanted to go home. I was a 16-year-old girl and was responsible for closing up the restaurant all alone. I had to walk 300 meters down a creepy alleyway when it was dark to throw out trash. I was all alone at night in the city center in a dark alleyway. My grandfather was picking me up one night and he was so mad about it that he asked me to quit right away. My mum agreed and I quit. But before I quit, I'd been getting my own petty revenge for a while. As I said, I was all alone at night. Sometimes I was alone for a couple of hours while I finished the dishes, washed the floors, and cleaned up after people. I knew they didn't keep count of certain things like how many sodas, ice creams, pancakes, etc. they kept in the fridge or freezer. So, every time I was closing up alone, I had myself a little party. I was also starving because I never got any breaks to eat. So, while I was washing up, I drank a couple of sodas, ate an ice cream, and maybe warmed a pancake or two in the oven for myself. I never touched anything important, like the money. I just ate what I wanted to and cleaned up everything afterwards, so they never knew. A few times, I even took a piece of cake or a sandwich home with me. When I quit, the boss was mad because apparently I was the best dishwasher they had. The other washers were lazy and unreliable, while I was very reliable and fast because my mum taught me to work hard. I don't think I was anything special, but I guess it's hard to keep good employees when you treat them like this. I also got a bad recommendation letter, but I will always remember how sweet the food tasted while I cleaned up after everyone else alone. Well, at least you got a good life lesson. So many employees will admit that you're the hardest worker they've ever had, whine about how they'll need to hire multiple people to replace you, and still give you a bad reference. No matter what you do or how hard you work, a bad employer will always give you a bad reference, so don't step on your own feet to live on good terms. That being said, I don't condone stealing, and that could get you into a lot of trouble. But they stole your break, so I'll give you a pass. I'm faking my paternity leave. Our next post comes from the AmITheDevil subreddit, posted by Shiitake Pom. I work for a pretty large company, with a 2-month paternity leave deal written into my contract. 8 months ago, I told my employer my fiancé was pregnant. We'd never really talked about our personal lives, but he was happy and cheerful for me. I found some random high school acquaintance on Instagram that was recently pregnant and showed my employers the images of her baby bump for the next few months, and really sold the idea that I'm about to be a father and have a fiance at home. I haven't had a girlfriend in years, and the whole thing is a complete lie. I don't think there's any way for the company to verify any of it, but I'm getting kind of nervous. I have my leave scheduled for mid-December. I hate my job, and I'm not afraid to be fired if this whole thing blows over. I'm just amazed that I took it this far, and I'm at the point where I don't think I can take it back. Red-headed Japanese says, is it a crime? Yeah. Am I morally opposed to it? Not really. Yeah, I don't think OP's the devil, but as Sort of Storm says, I had to provide 2 letters from my doctor, one from my GP, and one from my ON/GYN, confirming the pregnancy and expected confinement dates. There is no way in hell you can just simply convince your employer to give you family leave without evidence. Like, actual evidence. Not photos of some random pregnant lady. As if huge companies have thought of that very basic scam. This is why most criminals get caught, to be honest, because they think they're the first person to think of some very, very simple criminal idea. Yep, this is a terrible idea, but please keep us in the loop. Manager gave me a bad review because he believes nobody deserves an A rating. Posted by Hulk Goes Smash 327. So, context. Our rating system is a 1 to 5 on multiple questions and aspects of the job. So, by the end of this 30 question thing, you have an average. Your yearly raise is dependent on this and tops off at 4 to 5%. My manager believes in humility and won't do a top score on anything. Last year, I started April 2022 and did everything asked of me, and even went above and beyond. This was also the first year they did this new rating system. My manager scored me a 3.9, mainly because he had no idea how to answer the questions. Raise was 3.5 and a 4 or 5%. This year, he scored me a 4.2 because he believes in humility and just refuses to give me the max ratings as, he says, there's always room for improvement. If it was not for his belief in humility, I'd be rated somewhere around 4.8. Effectively, this cost me a 5% raise. I only got a 1.5% raise instead, reducing the increase in my yearly salary from $1,500 to $500. I know it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but in this economy, every penny counts. With all the above being said, he's unlikely to change his rating because they are his beliefs. So, I can ask for some other benefits. Aside from working from home, what non-monetary benefit would you like? I work from home 3 days a week currently and plan on asking to be home 4 days a week. Edit. Had a meeting with the manager and he's not changing anything. This manager just lacks integrity. He should be rating you honestly, not trying to keep you humble. That's not what the rating system is for. Also, he's effectively encouraging you to not improve because what's the point? He's admitted he won't rate you any higher anyway. You won't get compensated for it, so what's the benefit for you? Honestly, you should report him as he's undermining the company's incentive scheme. I'm guessing the higher-ups wouldn't be so pleased about that. Boss wouldn't pay, so I made him. Our next story comes from the PettyRevenge subreddit, posted by Instant Big Sister. The bar I worked at stopped paying us and changed owners. Oh, we got paid. There was a large group of regulars who'd be waiting for me in the parking lot to open. I loved the regulars. I looked forward to the same cheesy flirty jokes in the morning and loved seeing the souls of these veterans light up when it was time to collect toys for Christmas. Each booth in the restaurant would get a box. By Christmas, they'd be filled with toys to make Christmas special for the underprivileged children. Seriously good people, good vibes, I loved it. Although the restaurant was big and could seat over 100 people, it rarely filled up, and on our busy nights, it would just be me and the chef. Most days, there was no manager. We slipped the money into a safe closed up, and left. This should have been a warning, but I figured the owners would tell us if business was bad. They didn't. They just stopped showing up, stopped paying us, and one night, the regulars and I were surprised to see over 100 people come into the bar, asking about 25-cent wings. There was a new owner, a professional football player, and he'd invited all of his friends to his new spot. Were we told? No. Were we prepared? Also no. So proceeds a horrible night for me, all by myself, waitressing and bartending for 100. The regulars were off-put by the new vibe of screaming, cackling, breaking stuff, and throwing hands, so they left, and they didn't come back. I could see how this was going to end, and we still had hours to go. So, I asked the chef, who'd just become my roommate, how much payroll he was owed, and calculated mine. While I was scrambling in the front of house, I instructed the chef to fill the thick garbage bags with all the seafood and steaks in the house. I had him drop a full scoop of ice into each bag and double bag them before placing them in our car's trunk. The night ended, I produced a $2K check, and this baller tipped me $14 I called him out on his BS in front of his friends, threw the keys at him, and both me and the chef left him with a trashed restaurant. We picked up some Jack Daniels, called our friends to the house, and had an epic surf and turf party. I'd originally planned to take only what we were owed, but after $14, I texted him to bag it all and throw the bag outside the door ASAP because I was coming out and we were leaving. To be honest, I don't know if he even figured it out. He'd bought the restaurant and not even been inside, much less taken food inventory. Only we knew what the restaurant had. All we left him was wings and fries. I still make scallop, shrimp and steak skewers from time to time and wash it all down with some Jacks. Remember, they need you more than you need them. I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.